Hello everyone, welcome back to Prashita Fin School. So this is our third session of our entire module interview preparation for accounting and US taxes and rules. So in this session, we will be learning more about how to answer strategically the interview questions asked during US taxes and interviews. So who basically attend those US taxes and interview? One of the main criteria or important criteria is that you should have a BCom graduation degree to be eligible for US taxation. So this particular role makes a very high impact for students who have done BCom because no other graduates can compete you for this role. So if you have done your BCom during your graduation, so you must try for a US taxation role, and all the big fours and many top companies give CTC of around 4.5 to 7.5 for students or fresher who are applying for these roles. So let's understand how to answer the question strategically in a US tax and interview. So, what interview look for in US tax and rule for a fresher level or an entry level roles? Basic understanding of the US tax system. So, no interviewer expects you that you know each and every aspect of US taxation. They only assume that, or they only expect that you should be knowing what you are applying for, and you have a rough idea about what US taxation is, how it is being done, and you have some familiarity, walking with this US tax system, or maybe knowing this US tax system, right? Familiarity with common tax forms like Form 1040, W2, 1099, and awareness of individual versus business taxation, understanding of tax filing timelines, and ability to explain concepts in simple language. So this is what being expected from you from a US taxation rule, but no one expects that you should be completed your EA, you should have completed at least few months of work experience, or maybe some articleship, or you need to be a CA, CMA, or USCA, or nothing is required. Even if you are a basic BCom graduate, you can apply with some basic knowledge and basic fundamental ideas toward this particular role, right? So what is expected and what is not expected? So this draws a line between what you should be prepared for and what you should avoid over preparing for, right? Interviews expect you to understand very basic concept of US taxation. You should know common forms and terminologies. You should be able to explain how to file the US taxation at a very high level. What an interview do not expect from you, that you have already prepared US tax returns independently, you know advanced deductions or credits that is being used during filing US taxation, or you have CPA level knowledge in order to apply for this role. Nothing is required. As already mentioned, very basic knowledge is required, and every month, every year, thousands of vacancies come up for this particular role, and student get placed, from top business schools, top graduation college, even off campus. There are number of hiring coming up every year. So this is a role you should definitely try applying for or to make a career in, right? So how US taxation process flow. Let's understand at a very high level. We will not be going very depth into this. We will just understand it at a very high level, right? So what is how it start? It start with income details are being collected through the form W2 109. And what are these forms? We will be knowing going ahead in this particular slides. Or if you want to have a detailed idea about each and every fundamental, we have a separate course or a separate module where we have already explained, right, each and every form, how this entire US taxes work. So you can go and check that particular playlist, with the link is already been given in this in the description. So how the process start? The process start with income details are collected through W2 or 1099 or maybe other income documents. Then total income is being calculated, adjustment and deductions are being applied, then tax liability is calculated, then taxes already paid or withheld are adjusted, and final rent is filed through form 1040 for individuals, and for others as per the form that is being applicable. So the exact calculation are not being tested tested by the interview for a fresher. Interview tries to understand if you know how the flow is, how the flows goes on, because that is what important at a very basic level interviews, right? So this is exactly the same how we pay tax, how the tax has been calculated in Indian system as well, but the forms, the taxes name are being different for the US taxation, right? So what is common US tax interviews that a fresher should know? So these are the areas of questions you should be ready to answer with if you are attending any US taxation interview. You should be knowing basic US taxation concepts. You should be knowing the income and forms. You should be knowing individual and business taxation, how individuals are being taxed, how businesses are being taxed. You should be knowing the process and flow of the US taxation, and you should be ready with a very basic interview awareness questions. Let's discuss each and every area in detail now. So let's start with what is US taxation. US taxation is a system where individuals and businesses pay tax on income. They are collected by federal and state government. So federal is called federal government is the central government of India, such as currently it is under the presidency of Mr. Donald Trump, and state government are the government of each state, that is or each state of the US. Then individuals mainly file their taxes using Form 1040. So just you have to remember one thing, that Form 1040 is used by individuals to file their income tax in US. Question may arise, what is US taxation and how individuals file their taxation at US. So you can answer, US taxation is a system where individuals and businesses pay tax on the income, and individuals are mainly file the taxes using Form 1040. Right? Clear? Then what is Form 1040? As already discussed, Form 1040 is the individual income tax return filing form, and it is used to report income, deduction and taxes of an individual. It is filed annually by individuals in the US, right? Then who form file 1040? US citizens, residents, individuals earning income in the US, in which includes salary and self-employed individual. So what is the difference between a salaried person, how salaried person file their income, and how self-employed or maybe professionals or freelancers file their income? We will be understanding going ahead in the slide. So what is a tax year in the US? A tax year is the period for which income is reported. It is usually runs from January 1st to December 31st, and taxes are filed for income earned during this particular period. Right? So what is the US tax filing season? Period when the tax returns are being filed is called as the US tax filing season, and it usually starts from January and goes on till April. So standard deadline is April 15. It may vary, year to year. Then what is W2? As we had this word earlier in the slides, that individual have to fill their taxes through W2 and 1040. So W2 stands for wage and tax statement. It is being issued by an employer to its employees while paying them wages or maybe salaries. Then this it shows the salary earned and taxes that is being withheld, that is being deducted from this salary or wages while paying to its employees or laborers, right? Then what is 1099? 1099 reports non-salary income issued to independent contractors or freelancers. So no taxes is usually withheld by the payer. So 1099 is the form or the report that non-salary income has to pay, has to submit. It is issued to independent workers, like anyone who is doing some freelancing work but not working as an employee under an organization has to fill this report in order to file the taxation. So difference between W2 and 1099. W2 is for employees salary in salaried income and tax that is already being withheld by the employees, and 1099 is for contractor professional income, no withholding of tax comes over here. So W2 income is payroll based and 1099 is independent based. Right? I hope you got a clear idea what is W2 and what is 1099. You have to answer it with only one liner sentences so that interviewer will assume that yeah, you know the answers. That is the reason you are able to answer it very easily with only one sentence, right? So what type of incomes are reported in US tax return? So the returns that are being reported in US tax returns are salary income, business or self-employment income, interest and other incomes, rental or miscellaneous incomes are reported over here. Then how is withholding tax? So sorry, what is withholding tax? Tax deducted before income is being paid is called withholding tax. Many of the time employer keep a very small part of the salary as a tax from the employees. So this is what withholding tax is called. So this is being adjusted while filing the tax return at the year end. Then, what is the difference between individual and business tax? Individual tax is the income paid by a person for his income during a particular year, and business tax is a tax that is paid by business entity to in regard to its income during a particular year. Different forms and reporting rules apply. A detail about the reporting forms and everything has we have already discussed in another playlist which we have already attached in the description, right? What is self-employment income? Income earned by working independently, reported through 1099 forms, and taxpayer is responsible for paying the tax. So when an income is earned by working independently as a freelancer or maybe as a contractor, but not being an employee of a company, is called self-employment income, and it is reported through the form 1099. So they are also responsible to pay the tax to pay taxes on their income they have earned as a freelancer. What is difference between employee and independent contractor? You have to be knowing a basics about how an employee is being treated under the US taxation and how an independent is being treated under US taxation, right? So that you can do the filings correctly. So employee work under employer control and gets W2 in regards to the salary that they have been paid by their employer, whereas contractors work independently for different projects and gets 1099 for the income they have generated. So tax responsibilities differs as tax paid forms are being different over here, right? So let's understand a high level US tax filing process. So what is the process flow exactly looks? Collect income documents. So income documents are being collected. What are documents? It is W2. Then calculate total income. What total income is being calculated? Total income from the income from salaries, income from miscellaneous expenses, income from house rent, income from businesses. Everything is being calculated and adjust deduction and taxes. After that, file the forms 1040 whatever, or whatever relevant it is for that particular individual or business. Then how does W2 income flow into a form 1040? So what is W2? W2 is the salary that is the report that is being provided by an employer to an employee in regards to the salary that is being paid. But what is 1040? 1040 is the form that is used to file tax in USA by an individual. So W2 is a part of 1040 where salary is being shown. Then other incomes are added to the total income, like incomes from business, income from house rent, miscellaneous incomes. Then after adding all the total income, that is being added in form 1040 in order to calculate the total taxable income for an individual. Then what happen if excess tax is being paid? It is as simple as that excess tax result in a refund and government returns extra tax paid and it reflects in the tax return. And what happens if tax payable is more than tax paid? So these are very basic questions, but interview might ask you in order to check how interview aware you are, how good you are in answering a very basic question. So balance tax become payable, taxpayer must pay the difference paid while filing the return is the answer you have to give over here. Then, what are the documents required for an individual tax filing? The documents required are W2, 1099 forms, income detail, personal identification information are the few documents that is being required in order to file uh, the individual tax filing over here. Then what is a tax refund? Refund is excess tax returned, happens when tax paid is greater than the tax liability and it is all obviously paid by the government as a return to the individual as they have paid some additional taxes. Then common mistakes freshers make in US tax interview. The mistakes that freshers do is they go over theoretical answer, right? Do not over explain things in the interview. Always keep it as a one liner answer with 4 to 5 crisp words, crisp in the sense simple words that process your idea, that transfers your idea as a very basic fundamental answer to the interviewer, right? It is not required to use very fancy English or maybe very fancy words in an interview. right? You can use very simple words, using 5 to 6 words, make a sentence and answer it. If you know the fundamentals, you will be able to do so. And if you're answering it in a short sentence, interview will be understanding that yes, this particular candidate know the very basic fundamentals of this particular job responsibilities, right? Then mixing accounting with tax, even do not mix Indian taxation with US taxation, right? If you are really good in Indian tax as well, do not overclaim that you are really good over here. Accounting is totally a different part again. But even if you're really good in Indian tax, and also do not overclaim that, because if you do so, the recruiter might think that okay, if you are so much skilled with Indian taxation, then why you are looking and going ahead for US taxation now, right? Even if you get an opportunity in Indian taxation, you might change your job. So always be focused toward the role that you have applied for. Do not mix two, three other functional areas. Maybe it is from the same department, from the same taxes and accounting department, but these are the different functional areas within a department, right? Taxation is a different functional area, accounting is a different functional area. Focus to the job role that you have applied for with your skills, and limit your skills more toward the particular job role. Anyway, to show your diversity in skills, you can give a very little uh, idea that into the interviews that yes, you know all this, but your interest lie in US taxation only. Then memorizing forms without understanding, never ever try to memorize the form numbers and without understanding, because if you memorize, the way you answer will be known to the interview that you do not understand, but you just have memorized the form because of this interview. Then claiming advanced knowledge, most candidates get rejected over here that they claim that they know advanced skill in MS Excel, maybe advanced knowledge in US taxation. And when interviewers ask regarding, because if you say that you know, definitely interview will test the knowledge, and then you will be failing to answer the same, and you will be rejected, because interviewer not expecting any advanced knowledge from you. So do not claim it. Even if you know, give a very little idea that okay, I'm too good in this, and if you are confident enough to answer, then share with interviewer. If you don't know, just tell that yeah, you are aware about the entire process, the forms and all, because you are interested in this career, but you never got a chance to work. Be very honest in the interview. That will be definitely helping you in order to crack any interview, right? So that was all about how to clear US tax and interview, the areas of questions you might expect, and what you should be avoiding while attending or maybe while preparing for the US tax consulting interviews. So in the next session we will be learning more about self introduction and HR interview preparation. So what we will be learning is how confidently we can answer tell me about yourself. This tell me about yourself, most candidates think is one of the easiest things that they can answer in the interview, but most of the candidates get rejected only because of answering tell me about yourself in a wrong way. So most candidates neglect, no institution teach candidates how to present themselves in an interview. So we are going to do this in the next session, because this is going to filter you out in the very first few seconds of an interview, that whether the interview is going to reject you or select you. He will already be making a decision by listening tell me about yourself. So this is how important this is. So we will be learning this going ahead in the next session. Then how HR evaluates your communication and confidence. We will be learning this. Then common HR interview questions and how to answer them confidently. It is one of the most important thing that anyone should be knowing, that what question is being asked in order to listen what answer from you, right? The areas of answer are already predefined, right? If interviewer asking you something, where do you see yourself, he has already prepared he has already internally prepared that you should be answering this. If you're not answering this and you are saying something else, then you are not going to be shortlisted. So how to answer it in the area, in the positive area, or maybe in the gray area, that recruiter would think that okay, you are the right candidate, right fit for the interview or the job role. We will be learning in the next session. Then mistake that lead to rejection despite good technical knowledge. Many of the freshers, even toppers of an institution, they do not get a job offer, but someone who never attended even a single class get a job offer. You might have seen this in placement number of time, and you feel that okay, that candidate is lucky, but this is not how it is. They know something or they do something that you have never done, because in interviews, most of the time interview check how confident you are and how good you are in communicating your thoughts. Because if you're not good in technical, they will be training you, but they cannot train you on your traits, right? So this is also a very important part which we will be learning. So keeping it all together, the last session of this particular series is going to be very very important in order to get you selected into top MNCs and top big fours, into the roles that is into US taxation and accounting. So that's all for today guys. Thank you, take care, and bye bye.